Italy's real estate industry does not want you to see this video because the 10 towns I'm about to show you make every overpriced villa listing in Tuscany look like a financial mistake. There's a version of retiring in Italy nobody puts on a postcard. It's the version where a stone house costs less than a used pickup truck, where your neighbor knows your name by the second week, and where you are not paying $3,000 a month to live near a coastline you would only actually visit twice a year. I spent months digging through the towns of southern Italy that never make it onto the glossy best places to retire lists. And what I found genuinely surprised me: a UNESCO Baroque town where rent runs 300 euros a month, a cave city where families have lived in the same limestone dwellings for 9,000 years, and a tax law rewritten this spring that lets American retirees pay just 7% on their Social Security check, their pension, and their IRA and 401k withdrawals for an entire decade. Hit that subscribe button now, because we are counting down 10 unpopular Italy towns the retirement industry hopes you never discover. Before we start, one number matters more than any other in this video. Italy has a special tax regime for foreign retirees who move their residency to smaller towns in the south. It is a flat 7% tax on all foreign income, your Social Security, your pension, your IRA, and 401k withdrawals, your investment dividends, even rental income back in the States for up to 10 consecutive years. Compare that to what you are paying the IRS right now. This past April, under Law 34 of 2026, Italy widened the eligibility rules. The old rule capped it at towns under 20,000 residents. As of April 7th, that cap jumped to 30,000, and 74 new towns across the South suddenly qualified. A few of the towns on this list exist because of that exact change. Keep that in mind as we go, because it changes the math on almost everything below. Number 10 is Tropea, perched on a cliff above the Tyrrhenian Sea in Calabria, the toe of the Italian boot. I remember driving in on the coastal road and catching the church of Santa Maria dell'Isola sitting on its own rock spur with the sea glowing turquoise underneath it, the kind of view people fly to the Amalfi Coast for, except Tropea has about 5,700 residents and none of the Amalfi price tags. A one-bedroom apartment here runs roughly 500 to 700 euros a month, and a full household budget, rent included, typically lands between 2,000 and 2,250 euros, well under $3,000. Locals grow a sweet red onion here so famous it has its own protected status and its own summer festival. Tropea sits comfortably under the new 30,000 resident cap, so retirees who move their tax residency here can apply for that 7% flat rate on everything from back home. The catch? This is a hill town with narrow lanes and stairs, so if mobility is a concern, you will want ground floor or accessible housing, and it gets genuinely crowded with Italian tourists in August. Calabria overall reports some of the lowest violent crime rates in Italy, and winters here rarely dip below the 40s, which matters if you are done shoveling snow for good. Number 9 is Scalia, a little further up the Calabrian coast, and this is where the math gets almost absurd. Housing here averages around 900 euros per square meter. A small flat that needs some work can run 40 to 50,000 euros total, and a renovated flat near the beach lands somewhere between 60 and 90,000. That's not a monthly rent, that's a purchase price. Scalia isn't just a summer resort either. It has a working train station, real grocery stores, pharmacies, and a growing community of retirees from Northern Europe who've already figured this out. When I walked the seafront promenade in the off-season, half the cafes were still open, which tells you people actually live here year-round, not just in July. Like Tropea, Scalia's population sits well under the eligibility cap for the 7% regime. The trade-off is Calabria's public services can lag richer regions of Italy. So if you have a complex medical condition, you'll want to scope out the regional hospital in Cosenza, about 45 minutes away, before you commit. On the plus side, Scalia sits nearly flat along the coast. So unlike Tropea, this is one of the more mobility-friendly towns on this list. Number 8 is Scicli, and this one is a direct product of April's law change. Scicli is a UNESCO World Heritage Baroque town in Sicily's Val di Noto, with honey-colored stone churches stacked up a hillside, and it's the real-life town hall used as the fictional police station in the Inspector Montalbano television series. Italians will recognize it instantly. Rent here runs about 300 to 500 euros a month, and a couple can live comfortably, dining out included, on somewhere between 1,800 and 2,500 euros a month. Here's the part that matters. Scicli's population sits at roughly 26,000 people, above the old 20,000 cutoff, but under the new 30,001. Before April 7th, Scicli was locked out of the 7% regime entirely. Now it's in. If you've been reading about this tax break for years and always found your favorite town just missed the cutoff, this law is exactly why you should look again. Southeastern Sicily is also one of the calmer, lower crime corners of the island, and the climate runs mild almost year-round. Real winters rarely arrive at all. Number 7 is Noto, another Val di Noto Baroque town and Scicli's near neighbor, and another town the April expansion pulled in. Noto's honey gold sandstone facades look almost theatrical at golden hour, genuinely one of the prettiest main streets in Sicily. Rent runs 300 to 500 euros for a modest apartment, though renovated units in the historic core sell for 2,000 to 3,500 euros per square meter if you are buying instead of renting. A pension of 1,500 to 2,000 euros a month covers a genuinely comfortable life here. Dining out, day trips, the whole thing. Noto has beach access 20 minutes away at Vendicari and a real, if still small, community of American and Northern European retirees who have settled in over the last decade. The nearest full-service hospital sits in Syracuse, about a half-hour drive, which is close enough to matter if you are planning around ongoing specialist care. If you are enjoying this countdown and you have not subscribed yet, now is a great time. The next few towns get even more interesting, including one where the tax break technically does not apply, and I will explain exactly why that is still worth knowing. Number 6 is Syracuse, specifically the old island quarter of Ortigia, and this is the honest caveat entry on the list. Ortigia is stunning, a car-light tangle of Baroque streets surrounded on all sides by the sea, consistently rated the most walkable historic center in Sicily. Rent on the island itself runs 500 to 700 euros. The mainland part of Syracuse, drops to 400 to 550. The hospital system here is solid, and Catania's airport is under an hour away, which matters when you're flying grandkids in. But here's the catch. Syracuse, the city, has roughly 122,000 residents, which puts it well above even the new 30,000 cap. You will not get the 7% flat tax living in Syracuse proper. I'm including it anyway because the walkability and healthcare access are worth the trade for some retirees. Just go in knowing you're paying regular Italian tax rates on your worldwide income here, not the discounted rate. Sicily's crime rate is low by American standards, and Ortigia in particular is the kind of place you can walk home from dinner at 10 at night without a second thought. Number 5 is Lecce, the Florence of the South, carved almost entirely from a soft golden limestone called Pietra Lecces that makes the whole historic center glow at sunset. A couple can live well here on 1,800 to 2,200 euros a month, and a modest apartment in the historic center runs 500 to 800 euros. Like Syracuse, Lecce itself, with about 95,000 residents, is too big for the 7% regime. But retirees who want Lecce's restaurants and Baroque architecture without living inside the tax-ineligible city often settle 20 to 40 minutes away in smaller Salento towns like Otranto, Nardo, or Copertino, all of which qualify and commute in for dinner. One honest warning: outside the tourist core, English drops off fast here, so bring some Italian or bring patience. Lecce's climate is classic Mediterranean, hot, dry summers into the 90s and mild winters rarely below 40, and the city has a proper public hospital, the Vito Fazzi, right in town. Number 4 is Ostuni, the White City, its whitewashed hill town visible for miles across the Pulian olive groves. This one is a perfect case study for what April's Law actually did. Ostuni's population sits right around 30,000. For years, it sat just above the old 20,000 resident ceiling and was locked out of the 7% regime. Since April 7th, it qualifies. Furnished rentals in town run roughly $340 to $565 a month. A countryside Trullo, those cone-roof stone farmhouses Puglia is famous for, rents for around $800. Dinner for two at a local butcher shop grill, wine included, can run $25. Ostuni already has one of Puglia's most established expat communities, mostly British retirees who arrived years before this tax break existed, which tells you the town works even without the incentive. Now it works better. Puglia's crime rate ranks among the lowest of Italy's 20 regions, and Ostuni's hilltop position means sea breezes keep even August evenings comfortable. If you've made it this far, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps this video reach other retirees trying to figure out where their money actually stretches. Number 3 is Matera in Basilicata, and if you only remember one town from this list, make it this one. Matera is built into and around limestone caves called the Sassi, continuously inhabited for around 9,000 years, and now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Mel Gibson filmed part of The Passion of the Christ here because it looks more biblical than the actual Holy Land. Individual cost of living runs about 1,320 euros a month. A small apartment rents for around 690 euros, though outlying villages in the province go as low as $250. A retired couple can genuinely get by on around $1,300 a month, rent included. The honest caveat, Matera's healthcare infrastructure is rated below the Italian average, so if you need frequent specialist care, you'll want to research the regional hospital network in Potenza or Bari before committing. And at roughly 60,000 residents, Matera itself sits above even the new tax cap. The 7% regime isn't available in the city proper, though smaller towns in the province are. What Matera does have going for it is safety and pure visual payoff. Low crime, warm, dry summers, and a skyline that looks like nowhere else on Earth. Number 2 is Sulmona, tucked in a mountain valley in Abruzzo, ringed by the peaks of Mahella National Park and birthplace of the Roman poet Ovid. This is another direct beneficiary of April's expansion. Sulmona's population runs around 24,000, just above the old 20,000 cutoff, and it's one of 5 Abruzzo towns, the new 30,000 threshold unlocked. Rent for a 2-bedroom in the historic center runs roughly 450 to 650 euros, sometimes lower in outlying pockets. A couple can live comfortably on 1,800 to 2,200 euros a month, including a car and dining out twice a week. Sulmona sees real seasons, cold, snowy winters, and warm summers, a genuine draw if you're tired of either endless heat or endless gray. There's an established English-speaking retiree community here already, which softens the learning curve considerably, and good regional hospitals serve the valley, including one in Sulmona itself for routine care. Abruzzo consistently posts some of the lowest crime figures in the country, mountain or coast. Number 1 is Pula, on Sardinia's southern coast, about 25 kilometers from Cagliari. This is the best combination on the list. Real beaches, Roman ruins you can walk to, a small-town population of about 7,000 that comfortably clears the eligibility bar, and a real city with a major hospital, Cagliari's Brazzo Hospital, 30 minutes away by car. Long-term rentals for a modest 2- or 3-bedroom apartment typically fall in the 300 to 600 euros range once you're outside peak summer season, and the sea here is the kind of turquoise that looks fake in photos. Right next to town sits the ruined Roman Carthaginian city of Nora, half submerged in the sea, which you can wander through for a few euros. Sardinia picked up 7 newly eligible towns under this year's expansion, and Pula is arguably the pick of the group. Island infrastructure, capital city healthcare within reach, and full access to that 7% rate on everything from your Social Security check to your investment portfolio. Sardinia also has one of the lowest crime rates of any Italian region, and summers stay dry and breezy rather than the sticky heat you'd get on the mainland. A quick word on how this actually works if you're an American. The tax break requires you to move your legal tax residency to Italy, which for most retirees means the elective residency visa, proof of passive income, typically around 32,000 euros a year for a single applicant or 38,000 for a couple, plus private health insurance for your first year before you can enroll in Italy's public system. You cannot have been an Italian tax resident in any of the past 5 years, and the 7% rate applies for up to 10 years total. Remember, Medicare does not follow you overseas, not $1 of it. So budget for that first-year private policy, and once you're a resident, the Italian public system which non-EU retirees join through a voluntary annual contribution that scales with income. And no matter where you retire, the IRS still wants your paperwork every year. This tax break lowers what you owe Italy, not what you file with Washington. One more requirement worth knowing: you generally need to be a tax resident of a country that has an active information sharing or tax treaty with Italy, which the United States is, so American retirees are squarely who this regime was built for. None of these 10 towns are going to show up on a glossy Best Places to Retire ranking anytime soon, and that's exactly the point. They're not famous, they're not overrun, and most of them still run on a Social Security check that averages a little over $2,000 a month back home, except here, that check might actually cover your whole life, not just your rent. What these towns share is what the expensive, famous parts of Italy have quietly lost: real neighbors, real affordability, and a 7% tax rate that, as of this year, applies to more of them than ever before. If any of these 10 caught your eye, drop the name in the comments. I read every one, and it tells me which town to dig into next. I drop videos like this every week, breaking down exactly where your money goes furthest in retirement. Subscribe if that's useful to you, and I'll see you in the next one.